Hello and welcome to Common Comments and Questions. Now this is a little series I've been doing where I answer some of your most common comments and questions that you leave on my videos. So the one today that you've been asking a lot for is what are the best upgrades for a Tamiya TT01? So Tamiya no longer make the TT01, they do make the TT02, and as far as I can see they're pretty much the same. They're just like the TT02 is like a re-release, and they use many of the same parts, so you could probably apply most of the parts I'm going to mention in this video to the TT02. So the first thing to mention is this is my TT01, this is the Drift project, and I've highly upgraded it. So I'm just going to move these out of the way and show you all the upgrades I've actually done to it. So you can see that a lot of aluminium on there, orange aluminium. Now this is the Yeah Racing suspension package, and you can see we've got upper and lower arms on the front, the steering knuckles, shocks, and moving around we've got the steering assembly in there. We've got the centre drive shaft and drive cups. And at the rear we've got the upper and lower arms, the hub carriers and shocks at the back as well. And I've also got some aluminium hex adapter disc brakes in there, front and rear, you can see there. We've also got a Few Racing chassis brace, which is there, looks very nice. And we've also got these, which are the arm mounts from Yeah Racing. Well, what else is in there? We've got some new drive shafts. Thinner universal drive shafts. I think they're from 3 Racing as well. Obviously bearings all around. We have in the front, we have a front one-way from 3 Racing, that's the diff, and in the back we've got a 3 Racing solid axle diff. So the only things that are actually standard on this TT01 are the battery holder, the chassis, the diff housings and the rear gear cover. Everything else has been upgraded. So that's my TT01, and you guys have been asking what are the most valuable upgrades for the TT01, so I'm going to quickly run through them now. So the first one, and this applies pretty much to any Tamiya kit, are these. Now these are in place of the bearings. These are white plastic bushings, which actually are in place of these. These are ball bearings. You can get these on eBay anywhere. You can also get it from Asia Tees. They're available from many different manufacturers, and these are far more efficient, these ones, than the plastic bushings. You may as well just throw these away, no good. Use bearings instead. You're going to get a lot more a lot longer running time from your battery, and you're going to get a bit more speed because there's less resistance with these than there are with those. So definitely, first upgrade is definitely bearings. So that's the first one out of the way. Second one would be, now there's 2 options here. I think the drive shaft is a bit more important, so I'll go with this. This is the stock drive shaft that I got with my TT01, and as you can see, it's very flexible. You can almost make it into, just do it like a 180, like that. Very flexible drive shaft, and that's not much force either to bend it. So this was the very first upgrade I went with for my TT01. You can see the Yeah Racing aluminium drive shaft in there, covering up the light. So you can see it turning in there. Basically the aluminium drive shaft just makes the driveline a lot more responsive and a lot stiffer, so you get far more responsive acceleration, deceleration from the throttle. So that's the next upgrade that I'd seriously recommend. This plastic one is far too flexible. Next upgrade would be shocks. Now these are the standard friction shocks you get with the Tamiya kit, and these basically work. See if I can undo this. Didn't do this. There you go. So you've got the spring, this is the main shock body, you've got the spring, and then you've got this bit here, and this just clips in like that and it doesn't come back out again. Basically all that's resisting the compression and rebound of the shock is the spring, and a little tiny bit of friction between that bottom bit of plastic and that top main body. That's all that's sort of dampening the suspension. So not very good. They're going to ground out quite, the bottom of the chassis is going to ground out quite a lot, and they're going to provide no adjustability at all. So next upgrade would be adjustable aluminium oil-filled shocks. These are the ones from Yeah Racing, very good. Loads and loads of adjustability in them. You get different piston types, different length. You can do different lengths, you can do different stiffnesses of the spring, different oils, loads of adjustability in there. So that's another highly recommended upgrade for any Tamiya kit really, but definitely the TT01. If you want a bit more adjustability in your suspension, and plus they look pretty good as well. I'll just show you the back. Turn it around. can see there, looks really good. So another valuable upgrade there, the shocks. Now we'll go with the steering next. These are the plastic components for the steering. So you've got two main pivot joints there, and then you've got these connecting rods. So these connecting rods, this one goes from the servo to the actual steering assembly, and you can see I can actually twist that and bend it. It's quite flexible. Same with this. This connects the two pivots together, and still there's quite a lot of flex in it, both directions. Now these are a bit stockier, a bit thicker plastic, so you could probably keep these and just replace those. Now, these are a bit more flexible, a bit less flexible, sorry, a bit thicker plastic, so you probably stiff enough. But if you want a very responsive, very stiff steering setup, I'd recommend the aluminium steering. This is from Racing, the 3 Racing do one as well. So it just make the steering a bit more responsive and a bit stiffer, and a bit stronger as well. So another valuable upgrade there. Now next we'll move on to the arms. These are the upper and lower arms. No, upper arms at the front and the upper arms at the rear. And you can see plastic, so they're pretty strong, they're pretty stiff, so not much give in them. But they're not adjustable. You can't adjust the camber on either side. So again, with the Racing kit here, we've got adjustable upper arms at the front with these turnbuckles here, and then also at the rear. See, turnbuckle there as well. And that basically allows you to set the camber, positive or negative camber. So you can see at the back, just about, I've got, I think it's positive camber, negative camber, I can't really remember. But yeah, I've got a slight camber in the back, and there's basically none in the front. And what I use the camber setting for is just less grip at the back, more grip at the front. Especially for drifting, you want that back end to slide out. So yeah, if you want adjustable camber on your TT01, I'd recommend getting some adjustable upper arms. The lower arms you can leave as standard plastic ones really. I've upgraded to aluminium because they look good and because they came with the kit, the Racing suspension kit, but you'll be fine to stick with plastic, no problems with that. So yeah. And the last upgrade I'm going to talk about is the diffs. Now this is the standard TT01 Tamiya diff that comes with the kit, and you can see it comes with, looks like that. You see in there. Better lighting also helps focus the camera quicker, so you can see in there. This basically allows both wheels to spin independently of each other at different speeds. So handy for tight cornering, but not very good for sort of drifting and racing. So this I'm only talking about the rear. The front's a bit more of a choice, a bit more of a personal choice and option, but this is just for drifting and maybe for racing as well. I'd recommend upgrading to a solid axle or solid diff. So this is from, I think this is from Racing, all the way from Australia. Got 2 of these. These basically fit in place of those gears, those bevel gears, and that basically locks that diff so both wheels spin at the same speed. So you can see the same direction, same speed. Go in reverse as well. Or alternatively, you can go to 3 Racing, get this diff. This is basically exactly the same as that. It just looks a little different, and the main drive cups still fit in. So that's also a solid axle. So I'd definitely recommend, if you want to go for some drifting or a bit of racing, I'd recommend upgrading the rear diff to a solid axle, to a solid diff. Same thing. And yeah, I'd recommend doing a bit of research on the front. I've got a front one way in there, so I'm not actually sure how it works particularly and how it helps, but it's actually helped the front judder issue that I have with the TT01, where when I was on maximum steering, the front suspension would judder up and down really fast, obviously loosening screws and causing a lot of damage. So I've upgraded to a front one way, and it's definitely helped that issue. But you'd have to research that on your own, I think, because that's more of a personal choice. So yeah, that's the main upgrades that I think are very valuable on the TT01. I hope that's been helpful. If there are any other upgrades that people think are necessary, I'll do a quick update. But that's, in my opinion, the best upgrades you can get for a TT01 to start out with, and the rest is sort of more aesthetically pleasing than performance enhancing. So that's been my video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please, if you've got any feedback, comments, leave them down below. And I'll see you next time on RC Projects. Bye.